Bismillah, in the name of God, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum, may peace be upon all of you. Assalamu alaikum. And we'll do it a third time for the sunnah, which means that it's good to do in Islam. So, assalamu alaikum. I want to start off by thanking you all for being here in such dark times. Before we begin our program, I just want to introduce the co-organizer, my sister in Islam, a friend, and someone who I collapsed into her arms during this time. My sister Nuren, Haider, and I have been doing this kind of work for a long time, and we knew that we had to make sure to congregate the Orlando community, as we did during the Pulse shooting, and as we will when any community is under attack. So I want to introduce to you Sister Nuren Haider.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here tonight. It means so much to the Muslim community in Orlando to see all these faces and to know that we always have your support and love at all times. And I want each and every one of you to know that you always have Rasha and my love and support at all times with every one of you here. And with that, I know that we're not gonna, this is Rasha Mubarak, everybody knows her, so I know we were gonna do our introductions back and forth. But I just want all of you guys to know how much it means to us to have you guys out here today.
So I just want to say that love and compassion will always defeat hate and bigotry. People ask me, Rasha, why are you so passionate? Rasha, maybe you should just take it down a notch. And I tell them, I'm fighting like our lives depend on it, because they do. Our lives depend on it because they do. To my Muslim community, we ask you to take precaution. We ask you to be on high alert, but we ask you to not allow this to debilitate who you are as a Muslim, as a person living in Orlando, and as a human living on this earth. Do not be afraid of who you are. I ask my elected officials and legislators to be responsible with your rhetoric, to be responsible with your policies, to be responsible with your legislation. Because what we have seen is that Islamophobia, racism, bigotry, xenophobia, homophobia, anti-Semitism has moved from the fringes of society to mainstream into the White House, from the White House to New Zealand. But I want to take it an extra step, because solidarity is through safety and security, and safety and security is making sure that you're standing up and saying enough. If you aren't overtly racist or practice bigotry, but you are silent, let me tell you, silence equals violence. When you are complicit, you are okay with the bigotry that's allowed to happen across the world. When you don't stand up for Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and you are preaching that Islamophobia should not be in the resolution, you are part of the problem. Because what we've seen, legislators try to exclude the Muslim community from a very important resolution just a couple of weeks ago. And they're on both sides of the aisle. So when we talk about inclusivity and intersectionality, that includes Palestinian rights, because when you talk about Palestinian rights, there's an underlying Islamophobia. So when we want to talk about equality for all, and you want to eradicate Islamophobia and racism, then you fight like hell for all people, unconditionally, unequivocally, because this kind of work, we might not see it in my niece's lifetime, but the people that come after her. So we're asking you to be brave. We're asking you to be bold. And on that note, That's all of you. So we thank you for being here. We thank Mayor Buddy Dyer, who has continuously worked for the city of Orlando to make sure that we are a welcoming city. He was part of a historic pass over the summer of the Trust Act, where it's a welcoming city for all people. So just as we saw in the Pulse shooting, he made sure that the backlash against the Muslim community was to a minimum because of the relationships that exist. And today, he stands with us again. So please welcome the Honorable Mayor Buddy Dyer.
Thank you, Rasha, and thank you all for being here this evening. It's appropriate that we gather in this place after learning yesterday that 49 lives had been taken in Christchurch in New Zealand because of hate. 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, we gathered in this very park to mourn 49 lives that were taken here in Orlando by hate, the same type of hate that occurred in Christchurch. And it's important that we support those in New Zealand, but the Muslim community all around the world, including right here in Orlando. And you remember after Pulse, there were rainbows lit up everywhere. You can think of bridges in cities, the London Bridge, the Eiffel Tower in Paris, and we felt the love, we felt the support from all over the world for us. And we need to pay that forward. We need to make sure that the people in Christchurch know that we are here for them and that we support them. I want to acknowledge that Commissioner Sheehan is here. Commissioner Sheehan and our Orlando Police Chief, Orlando Roland, and other members of the city family. I want to thank them for being here as, again, we reach out. And Rasha's message was critically important. We want to make sure that Orlando is one of those places where every single citizen of this city feels safe, feels welcome. We want to be that inclusive city, and we want people to know that we're that inclusive city and that we love each other. And that was one of the things that we did after Pulse. We made sure that people didn't think, I need to have retribution because of the single hateful act of somebody who acted on his own accord and not out of a religious faith. So I stand with the Muslim community. I stand with all Muslims here in Orlando tonight. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker fights day in and day out to make sure that each and every one of us can unapologetically be Muslim, be Christian, be Jew, love who we want to love, believe in what we want to believe in, and just be ourselves. And this person fights for us all the time. And I am honored to have our state attorney, Aramis Ayala, to be our next speaker.
Thank you, Nuren. Thank you, Rasha, for the invitation. I want to offer my condolences for those whose lives were ended, those who were wounded, and to those who are forever changed by the realities of terrorism. I offer words of peace, words of hope, words of justice, and tonight, special words of healing. I'm glad to hear that the Prime Minister of New Zealand and the Police Association had taken a stand for change to the country's gun laws. And there's nothing There is nothing radical about changes in laws that undeniably increase safety and preserve life. It is humane, and it protects us from our own demise. With each mass shooting, with each massacre, we've spent a moment mourning, repeating the same cliches, making the same promises with absolutely no substantive or manifested change, except the changes that increase our tolerance for gun violence. our tolerance for hate, our tolerance for a system that spends billions of dollars in resources to identify and cage problems, but relatively minor resources to attack the problem at its root, attacking it by calling it what it is, attacking it by calling it terrorism and making no excuses for it. May this time of healing, thank you. May this time of healing penetrate all those who are in pain, all those looking upward in order to find the strength to move upward. May this time of healing be a bright light in dark places that blinds the toxicity into its own destruction. May this healing right here in Orlando be the pebble in the ocean that creates waves from the south to the north, the east to the west, that pebble in the ocean that spreads peace and unity. The state of Florida and this entire country finds its beauty not in returning to the past, but embracing the rich diversity that paves the way for a more fulfilling life for all Americans. Diversity of thought, diversity of beliefs, diversity of values that never tramples the values and the beliefs of another. Our common ground paves the way for our common peace, yet we have reached a very dark hour when one's peace and satisfaction has been overtaken by greed, by fear, and by hatred. Hatred that creates peace for no one, and it finds itself growing exponentially from the top down. But I want to say here today, we're talking about love. We're talking about faith, and we're talking about hope. Hope for a brighter tomorrow. Hope that will choke and suffocate every living cell of hatred. Hope that brings life and joy, and most importantly, hope that brings healing. Hurt people do in fact hurt people. So let us infect ourselves starting here tonight with healthy thoughts, healthy words, and healthy actions to heal the pain of rejection, the pain of injustice, and the pain of evil and death. Let us stand together in peace and progress so that we may all enjoy the American dream that is covered by the sacred concept of justice for all.
And that is why she's our state attorney. That's hard to follow. Thank you, Aramis. The next person that we have speaking, I'm proud to say, and I'm sure Nuren is too, is the Imam that raised all of us in the community, that taught us, that was there for us, that picks up my calls at 12:30 a.m., that puts up with my tantrums. And he has taught us so much in the community, and he has been so welcoming to not just the Muslim community, but all of Orlando. Please welcome Sheikh Tariq.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening to all of you. On behalf of all the Imams of Central Florida, I would like to thank all of you for coming. At this time, nearly every Imam is so busy that they cannot come. But they requested me that I should mention this, that they wanted to come, but they could not. But, on behalf of all of the Imams, I'd like to thank all of you for coming. So many things have been said about this tragic event. But as I was coming here, I was checking the news, and now the tally of the victims have gone from 49 to 50. Another person passed away in the hospital. The youngest victim was only 5 years old. And this guy, he came back just to make sure that this 5-year-old girl whom he has shot is actually dead. So when you read these stories, right, you see how much hate this person has. And this hate is coming from somewhere. And this somewhere, we need to see where it is coming from. We need to work towards filling this world with love now. Hate never wins. Hate loses. Love always wins. The Muslim community of Orlando here is blessed to have so many good people here. Our respected Mayor Dyer, he spoke about our Muslim community, and I would like to really appreciate him for being with us in the time of distress. in the time of pain as well as in the time of joy. And the elected official here, they have been here with us all throughout. So this community is a wonderful community. You know, we cannot change the world, but we have to make sure that our local community is a community that is full of love. And this local community does not harbor hatred towards people. The Muslim community here would like to make this city more beautiful, would like to make sure that there is peace, and whatever we can do to make this city more peaceful, more beautiful. The Imams are here, the Islamic centers are here to make sure that this happens. So together we condemn this act of violence. Together we stand for peace. Together we stand for justice. And I'm pretty sure that hate is going to lose one day. May God bless all of us.
Thank you. I know it's starting to drizzle, so we're going to try to continue with the program. I do want to recognize again the chief from Orlando Police Department and also Commissioner Sheehan, and if anyone else, or State Representative Ana Escamani, who is in session. Yes, driving to and from Tallahassee. Thank you for being with us. I want to introduce our next speaker, who's very dear to the Orlando community. She lost her son in the Pulse shooting. So please help make a warm welcome to Christine Leinonen.
Thank you. First of all, I want to obviously express my sorrow to the Muslim community. I know your hearts are breaking. I know your pain. And I will grieve with you. My son was killed almost 3 years ago by a man whose skin was different colored than mine. His religion was different than mine. And another thing that was different was the hatred that he had in his soul. That he let anger and hatred and bigotry fester. He chose to get on the internet and find other like-minded, hateful people online so that his hatred could rot him on the inside, so that he could commit an atrocity that's beyond speakable. The white nationalist that killed 50 innocent Muslim praying souls. His skin was the same color as mine. He might even be the same religion as me. But where he was different was that he harbored hatred and anger right down to his rotten core. And just like my son's killer, he went online. He went online to find other like-minded, hateful, rotten, evil people, monsters. And he found people he could identify with. He identified with a goose-stepping neo-Nazi who slaughtered 77 people, mainly teenage Muslims, at a summer camp in Oslo, Norway. He found a Confederate flag waving white supremacist from South Carolina who he could identify with, who walked into a black church and slaughtered 9 praying innocent souls. And another person he could identify with, in his own manifesto, he said he could identify with the President of the United States of America, this monster. Now, my religion, I'm Catholic, and we say the Lord's Prayer throughout the Mass for any ceremony, any wedding, any funeral. And the last line of the Lord's Prayer is, "Lead us not unto temptation, but deliver us from evil." And the great Muslim prophet Muhammad teaches that you cannot overcome evil. You overcome evil with good, and that is good. You resist evil with evil, and that is evil. So I'm here to support and love you with my heart, with good, because we are going to remove the evil from our hearts. We're all susceptible. We all as human beings can get angry and can be bigoted and can have hatred. But we ask to be redeemed. We ask to lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And that to overcome evil with good is good. I love you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine. Our next speaker is a survivor of the Pulse shooting who has decided to honor them with action for the 49 of Orlando and for the 49 of New Zealand and all people that have lost their lives to gun violence in the United States. Please welcome Brandon Wolf.
The week after the shooting at Pulse is a bit of a blur to me. It's almost as if for days, all I can remember are fragments, are snippets in time, their emotions. I can remember being angry, being so angry that someone filled with hatred could walk into a gun shop and buy whatever he wanted and rip 49 people from our community. I remember feeling hopeless. After saying goodbye to my two best friends, the people I loved the most in this world, what would life look like? I remember feeling scared. Scared to fall asleep, scared to wake up, scared to go to the grocery store, scared to walk the streets of my own city. I'll never forget failing to be able to write a eulogy because I couldn't get my hand to stop shaking. Or putting my hand on Drew's casket for one extra beat in hopes that somehow it would all be over. But in all the fragments that I remember, there is one memory that is crystal clear. The night of June 13th, just one day removed from the shooting at Pulse, I decided I needed to build the strength to go out in public. And so I built this courage. And I went to the Dr. Phillips Center, to the vigil. I didn't think I could do it. There were several times when I got to the door and stepped back in because I thought I might fall apart. but I wanted to be there. I needed to be there. For Drew and Juan, for 47 other families, for the city of Orlando, I needed to show that nothing, not even hate, could break us. I held myself together that night through songs. I choked back my tears through prayers. And when they all lit the candles, I stood strong. I was proud of myself. And then as I walked across the grass on my way out, there they were. A picture of Drew and Juan. And they were smiling. So joyful, as if what had happened the night before was some sick dream we were all trapped in. And I broke. I just sank to the ground. And I cried. I sobbed. I wept. I was overcome with pain in that moment. So much so, I thought it may kill me right then and there. And then, as if by the grace of God himself, 2 arms wrapped around my shoulders. And I felt a sense of peace. I was too embarrassed by my puffy eyes to look up and see who it was. But they just whispered in my ear over and over and over again, "You are loved." And so we sat there for what felt like hours, until finally I worked up the nerve to turn around and see, who is this stranger who's comforting me? And there was a stranger, a Muslim woman wrapped in a hijab, who looked different than me, who had a different belief system than me, but had the same intense love in her heart. For the last 2.5 years, that is what Orlando Strong has meant to me. Not some secret code that only exists within our city limits, but a clear and loud declaration that hatred, bigotry, and violence have no place in our society. It's impossible to read the headlines from New Zealand and not feel a sense of trauma, not relive those same moments. We feel pain for the victims. We feel grief for their families. We feel fear for our neighbors. But just as we did after June 12, 2016, we are called upon to throw our arms around their shoulders and whisper, "You are loved." From Orlando to New Zealand, communities bonded through pain, but united in love. Thank you.
Our next speaker is a strong sister, a civil rights activist, a Muslim leader, Sister Amatullah Muhammad.
Thank you all for allowing me to come into your space tonight. I've traveled here from Tampa, and I have a few words I would like to say. Upon receiving the initial news of the attack, I was utterly appalled, and it felt like someone had punched me in the gut. I remember crying while preparing for work. I cried during the press conference that our organization gave. I cried on my own at my desk. News like this normally wouldn't evoke such a reaction in me. I feel I would sympathize, but there's something about being desensitized to violence and hate. Here in America, we're unfortunately accustomed to it, to this hate. As a Black Muslim woman, I felt it. But this was so much more to me. This hit my core so deeply because it could have easily been me and my brother. I remember the countless hours that we spent at our local mosque exploring the masjid grounds when we were younger and playing and getting into things. It's always been a safe haven, a second home. And suddenly I can't see it that way anymore. I couldn't help but think of all of my friends and how we would meet at the mosque and congregate to meet with each other and to catch up and to enjoy good times together. And I can't see it that way anymore. The fact that there are people that hold these sentiments and that they feel they can exercise this hateful rhetoric and unexplainable violence is very dangerous, but also telling. We've become a beacon of hate. Leaders of this country are being glorified for their hatred and disenfranchisement of groups that they deem as being other and not like them. I'm sick of the violence. I'm sick of the hate. The fact that we have to host events like this breaks my heart. It breaks my soul, but it lights a fire in me to never stop fighting. I fight for a day I won't be pulled over because I'm black. I fight for a day I can wear my hijab and not be a target. I fight for a day where Muslim children are afraid of being bullied at school, where Muhammad can be Muhammad and not Mo because he's afraid of a missed opportunity. The responsibility lies with all of us, Muslim, not Muslim, whatever you believe, wherever you come from, it lies with all of us. We shed hatred and violence for love and peace. We are the change, we are the hope. Thank you.
I also want to acknowledge someone that's really so special to my heart. Someone that has been on the battlegrounds during the Pulse shooting and stood with our community unequivocally. Please, a warm welcome to State Representative Carlos Gamero Smith. Thank you for being here. I love you.
I'm sorry, we really are better at speaking normally. Our next speakers are Pastor Derek Hoven and intern Pastor Nicole Eastwood.
And so we're going to do something very unlike religious leaders, going to keep our remarks short. But the hurt that is felt here is real, and the thing that we are called to proclaim as Christian public leaders is that the God that we serve is the God who is love and the God who is peace. And so peace be with you, because that is what we feel that we are called to proclaim, and the actions that we are reading about in the news every day, the actions that are still rocking us to our core yesterday in New Zealand, those do not reflect the God of peace.
Each and every one of us has a story, lots of stories. There are stories, as we share tonight, of grief, but we also have stories of joy. They are stories of faith and stories of life that shape all of us. We have heard tonight about faith, hope, and love. These are not just things we talk about, but things we put into action. In moments like this, we gather in solidarity, but there are lots of days in between these tragedies where our faith communities come together. I am blessed to know Imam Rasheed as a neighbor in faith. We have spent time sharing coffee together, and our communities have spent time sharing meals together and praying together. And it is in those moments when we gather and share our stories that we discover our shared humanity, and that we bit by bit build a new and different kind of community, not based in hate, but based in love. It is what, amidst this grief, we are celebrating tonight, but also what we are striving to live into together as faith communities.
Orlando is sometimes a place people leave and come back, and so I'm so happy my sister, who does a lot of community activism work, Giulianna de Lauro, is back. She does work for anywhere from Puerto Rico to Venezuela to climate change, climate justice. Please welcome Giulianna to the stage.
Thank you, Rasha. I want to take this. I'm itty bitty. I want to thank Rasha for inviting me and for all the organizers. I was thinking a lot about what to say here throughout the day, and I honestly just didn't have many words. I'm here to say that you're not going to hear an eloquent speech from me, because when things like this happen, it just rocks me to my core. I cannot understand what would provoke someone to do the thing that was done in New Zealand. When I think about those innocent people that were in their place of worship, praying, and how they were murdered in that sacred space, in that space that's supposed to be the most holy and divine space, it just doesn't make sense to me. I grew up Catholic, but my faith is that we are all one, that we are all literally one, that we're actually made up of the same things, and there's just one consciousness, and that's the consciousness of love, of Christ, of Muhammad, of our one infinite creator. I'm angry. I'm angry that the President of the United States of America can inspire someone to do this type of thing. You know what, I'm not going to make this about the person that committed this atrocity, but in his manifesto, which I did not read, which I will not speak of, he mentioned that one of the reasons why he did what he did was to seed hate, to create division, to escalate and catalyze a race war. He wants to divide us. And as I look into this crowd and I see people of all colors, I see white people, I see black people, I see brown people, and I'm so heartened to see that we are not letting him get what he wants. Because these moments call for love. These moments call for radical love. And I've been reflecting a lot on what that means and what solidarity means. And to me, that's acknowledging that my freedom, my dignity is tied to the freedom and dignity of every other person, every other group in this world that is experiencing oppression. I am not free if Muslims are still oppressed. I am not free if black people are being killed by the police. I am not free if Palestine is living under an occupation. I want to thank you all for sharing your love, your light, and your presence with me and with each other, and I have hope that we will overcome this. Thank you.
All right, we have a couple more speeches, and then we're gonna do a healing circle right after, so just thank you all for being patient. I want to introduce next speaker, Russell Drake, from the Democratic Black Caucus. Thank you.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they are the children of God. The children of God come in every color, from every religion, from every nationality, from every location. Acts 17:26 says, "He is made with one blood every nation of man to dwell on all the face of the earth." We are all brothers and sisters. So we gather here today in the spirit of unity, in solidarity. As we make this circle around us, we come to dispel hate, as everybody has said. We come in the spirit of one love. One love. See, hate, similar to the children of God, hate knows no color, hate knows no race, hate knows no religion, hate knows no age, hate knows no gender, hate knows no preference. So we come together to dispel the hate with love. Mayor Dyer and everybody else around here showed us 3 years ago that love conquers hate, that love will triumph in the end. Orlando has been tried and true, and we have displayed unity in the community. And now we stand here today to display our unity and solidarity and extend it all the way to New Zealand in the first time zone of this world. So we come here, we break the shackles of hate, We break bigotry, we break negativity, and we want our elected officials across the globe to know what is said in joking and for rhetoric is taken seriously by some and has effects on others. Thank you all for coming out. One love.
The next speaker has a special place in my heart, and I can usually call him at midnight. He's closer than family to me, and I think he knows that. And I am honored, and you'll see why. We are very different people. But I hope that he loves me as much as I love him. It is the chair of the Orange County Democratic Party, Wes Hodge.
Nuren is my rock, and I could not do half of the things I do without her. Thank you, and thank you, Rasha, for the invitation. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you. Whether in Arabic or English, it is a common greeting throughout our world. It conveys a sense of hope for understanding and tolerance, which transcends not only politics but also religious boundaries. We all share this planet, and it is incumbent upon us to maintain a world of civility and acceptance. We cannot allow those who speak hate and division to be the loudest voices in the room. We have seen now that dog whistles blown in 2016 have been heard around the globe. We are where the world looks for leadership, and sadly we are grossly failing that role. In a vacuum of leadership, it is up to us, the people, to provide the example for others to follow. We must demonstrate that we can all live in this world together in harmony, even though we may have different types of politics, different types of love, or different religions. We cannot allow hate to divide us. Rather, we must stand together in unity and show that we are united now more than ever. We saw firsthand how our community, Orlando, united in the face of hate. Today, we send that same hope of love and unity to our Muslim sisters and brothers around the globe and New Zealand as well. We say in unison, may peace be with you.
Thank you, Wes. All right. I had a little sister come and tell me that there have been 50 lives lost. And what we're going to do now is we're going to name the victims that were identified. Not all the names have been identified. So we have some young sisters from the Muslim community here to read off the names that have been identified, but we'll be giving a moment of silence of those. And then we have a sister from the Jewish community who will close out the prayer and sing, and then we have another song, and then we have Maghrib Salah, and then we have a healing prayer or healing circle, and we have 49 roses. The person that donated it didn't want to be named, so we thank you. So we'll be distributing that during the healing circle. So please welcome these young sisters. Give them a warm round of applause. Thank you.
I'm Surya Lutfi.
Hi, I'm Iman Squires.
I'm Jude Mubarak.
I'm Zareda Crawford.
Dahoud Nabi, Naeem Rasheed, Talha Rasheed, Khalid Mustafa, Hamza Mustafa, Lilik Abdul Hamid, Munir Sulaiman, Ahmed Jamal Alauddin Abdul Ghani, Ashraf Al-Masri, Musad Ibrahim, Zulfirman Sia, Abdullahi Tariq, Sayed Milni, Husni Ara Parvin, Muhammad Imran, Ashraf Ali, and Mukka Adi. Thank you.
Thank you for this moment of silence.
Our next speaker is Cantor Jacqueline Rawiszer from the Congregation of Reformed Judaism.
My friends, on Friday morning, we woke to the horrific realization that senseless, baseless hatred, xenophobia, Islamophobia, and bigotry continue to flourish in our broken world with the news of the devastating violence and the bloodshed against our brothers and sisters in the Muslim community in New Zealand who were gathered for prayer. They were gathered for prayer in the mosques in Christchurch. And 50 lives, 50 beautiful, innocent lives were lost, and many others injured in what should have been a haven of safety and a haven of peace. What has happened that has caused some among us to forget that we are all B'nai Adam, we are all the children of humanity? What has happened that we have forgotten that we are all children of Abraham? How can it be that prayers are now written with a blank for filling the house of worship where the slaughter happened? How can that be? In the words of Rabbi Menachem Creditor, I share with you tonight, dear God, from the depths we call to you, our broken hearts shattered like glass, like a windshield or child's glasses or a sanctuary window. This wounding moment there, here, to every us imaginable, divine reflections fractured and bloodied, again and again, like a sick dream. Dear God, how do you endure this madness? How do we? Look what your children are willing to do to each other. We collect these hard, cold things and we glorify them like treasured keepsakes, forgetting that their purpose is pure, to kill. Holy One, oh Holy One, we are devastated again. It is really hard to remember a world without bulletproof backpacks and armed guards outside every sanctuary, no matter what tradition. Help us to remember a world that felt lighter than this one. Please, God, fill our torn hearts with your spirit as we do the impossible work of burying our dead, cut down again during prayer, again. Remind us to show up at our neighbor's mosque today, tomorrow, in the days ahead with flowers, with tears, with outstretched arms of love. Help us heal. Help us heal each other and fix the very broken world you bequeathed to us. We need you. We really, really need you. Psalm 89.3, verse 3 says, in Hebrew, Olam Chesed Yibaneh, and that means we will build this world with compassion. We will build this world from love. The chant is really simple in English. It begins, I will build this world from love. You must build this world from love. If we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love. I would love for you to join me. I will build this world from love. Yai lai 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 lai. You must build this world from love. Yai lai 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 lai. if we build this world from love, ya la la, ya la, ya la, then a God will build this world from love. Ya la la, la la, la 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 la. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom aleichem. And peace and love be to each and every one of you. May we find comfort, strength, and unity as we move forward, stronger together.
Before we have the last song, before we do our healing circle, I want to announce that Islamic Center of Orlando tomorrow, is that okay? Is having an event to reflect on the same topic of the shootings in New Zealand. They have opened up their masjid from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So Islamic Center of Orlando, Sheikh Tariq, Sister Fatima, and everyone, thank you for putting that on. I also want to thank people that helped put this on, Organize Florida, Giovanni Rawiszer, I don't know if you're out here, and yes, thank you, and also Muhammad Khan, thank you so much. So our last speaker, and we're going to ask people, once this is done, to immediately go into a circle, and then we'll do a healing circle, and then for the Muslims and people that want to observe, we'll break for prayer, inshallah.
We are going to have a song for healing and wishful thinking by Massoni and MarkPaul Pierpont.
So being here, it's a privilege to hear so many messages that come from different traditions. My tradition of a number of us here is from a Christian tradition, and there's always a song or a message that all of us share together. And I've heard peace and love and hope and also grace. And how do we break the chains that we of hatred and division in our culture and in our world? So this is a rendition of a traditional song, Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. Promised good to me. His word shine, but God who calls me here below will be forever mine, will be forever mine. You are forever mine.
Absolutely beautiful. We want to be protective of everyone's time, so we're gonna have Brother Fawaz. I know him. He's gonna make the call to prayer for the Muslims and anyone that wants to observe the prayer. That's gonna take immediately after the healing circle. So I ask you, as you create a healing circle, to just listen to this call for prayer and to be in silence and reflection as we form the circle as Brother Fawaz calls the call to prayer, inshallah. Thank you. And we thank everyone for coming out tonight. Assalamu alaikum.